Well, some of the Lightning's big guns and their power play have found a way to stay hot. Can they keep it going tonight against the Edmonton Oilers? We'll talk about it on today's Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. As always, we want to begin with a shout out to our everydayers. Those of you who tune into every single show, every single day, we love you. We appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the Cheech to my Chong, Greg Stephen. Greg, welcome in, my friend.
Good morning. Good morning. Got a little new background today. I'm on the road, but that's okay. We got the show going, and apologies for missing yesterday, everybody.
Yeah. Speaking of getting the show on the road, the Lightning certainly did that against the New Jersey Devils, and now they have another big home game tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. Maybe I should have said they're getting the show on the home. They're getting the show on the club BMI.
You're a quick guy.
Yeah, I try to be. That's how I make the big bucks for this show. A lot to talk about. We will dive into a little bit over what we saw in that big win over the Devils, including a hat trick from one Mr. Jake Guentzel, who is absolutely on fire. Also, a lot to like about the power play in that game. We'll also look ahead to tonight's game against the Oilers. How do you slow down Connor McDavid, and what our picks and predictions are going to be for this game? A lot to get to. Do want to mention today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, Greg, as you mentioned off the top, we were not able to get a show together yesterday due to some travel/technical issues. We're sorry about that, folks, but we do have some good hockey that we want to dive into, because when we last saw you guys, the Lightning were about to take on the New Jersey Devils, and then the Lightning wound up absolutely crushing the Devils in that game. Big 5-1 win over New Jersey. And Greg, a lot to like from the Lightning in that game. And look, I know like the Devils had some injuries,
right?
A lot of stuff going on, a lot of uncertainty, but I still think you have to look at this as a really good win over a team that entering that game was first place in the NHL.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge win. Expected the game to be a lot closer, but look, we picked the over, by the way.
We actually nailed the over-under for the first time.
And if I recall, I picked Jake Guentzel to score a goal. Yeah, no, I'm happy about that. And like you had mentioned, the power play. Better than I think we've seen all season. 2 goals, great passing. Kucherov looked unbelievable, on fire. And maybe my favorite play of the whole game, Anthony Cirelli with basically a completely no-look pass to Kuch for the second goal of the game. Unbelievable play.
Yeah, I agree with that one 100%. It was good to see Cirelli kind of back, getting back to full strength as well. Yeah, I mean, to me, Greg, what I really loved about this game was the finish, I think, for the Tampa Bay Lightning, because that was kind of our, I guess, one criticism that they didn't finish the weekend.
Right.
They came out against Vancouver, played 2 really good periods of hockey, and then as the game went on, kind of faded late. We're also used to, kind of seeing teams really get on that front foot and push the Lightning at the end. That's kind of been a problem at times this year. The Lightning, I think, absolutely dominated that third period, even though they had that lead going into it.
Right.
Outshot New Jersey 12-5 in that period. I thought you saw them really smothering New Jersey's attack. It seems like they had a lot of trouble trying to get things into the neutral zone, into things going. They had the 3-1 lead, and they didn't sit back and it's like, okay, it's time to play defense. They kept pushing. They kept pushing for goals, and they wound up scoring 2 more. And I think that more than anything, being able to come out in that third period, really control play, not let New Jersey be that team that kind of plays like they have absolutely nothing to lose. I think that actually secured the win for today, and not sitting back. And obviously, like Darren Raddysh, who I do want to talk about him a little bit, because he has played the best 2 games I think I've ever seen him play in quite some time, these last 2 games. And then obviously like Guentzel gets his hat trick goal. But yeah, I mean, I loved seeing the finish from them. I think that was a big reason why we're talking about a big win right now.
Completely agree. I mean, they had the opportunity to play defense, like you said, and instead they just kept their foot on the gas. And that's what you see from great teams. You just don't stop. And that's what we saw here. And like you mentioned, Darren Raddysh, he had one heck of a pass to Jake Guentzel from the point at one point, and just beautiful. I mean, could have been a shot, but he kind of made a nice shot pass at one point, and it was just excellent. Like you said, I think maybe his best game I've ever seen in this season.
He's always been a good offensive guy. Like, that was the thing that we talked about before the season, and 3 points in this last game. But he was the guy that was the number 1 defenseman.
Yeah,
the other night, and he had almost 25 minutes of ice time. Mm-hmm. That's insane to say, isn't it? Because that was the one thing with Darren Raddysh is, look, put him out there on offense all you want. Whatever you do, don't let him kind of be in a situation where he needs to play big defense, because of the way the injuries have, shaped up a little bit. Like, obviously you still don't have Victor Hedman. You still don't have Ryan McDonough. You kind of in a situation where it's like, okay, Darren Raddysh might have to be a big defensive role here. I think he really did step up. I thought you saw him play good defense. I thought you saw him, contain, guys like Nico Hischier pretty well. Mm-hmm. I think that Darren Raddysh played his best defensive game that I've ever kind of recall seeing him in a Lightning uniform. And I'll just shout out too, Greg, Dastow, because we've been a little bit critical of him having, of him not performing great, in sort of an elevated role. He still had that elevated role, I think, this last game because of injuries. And I think he played admirably as well.
Agreed. And he was +1. And look, even Lilleberg, +2. He's playing some good defense in that game as well. And again, Darren Raddysh, 3 points. I mean, you can't ask for more from that guy. He just played so well. I thought this whole game was just a complete effort from everyone, to be honest with you. And even Bjorkstrand picked up a point. You got Braden Point picking up a point, which we really needed to see, right? And then you see the big guy step up, like we talked about, Guentzel with the hat trick and Kucherov with 2 points. It's just an all-around great effort. And then you got Vasilevskiy only letting in 1 goal. So, I mean, what else could you ask for?
Yeah. Anything that could have gone right went right.
Right.
It's the opposite of what we said, a week before in that New York game, where it's like anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. So look, we all know the Lightning have played some really good hockey in the aggregate over like the past month or so. So it's good to see them rewarded with just kind of a blowout win on the scoreboard, because I think that's a good reflection. Big question I have, Greg, is are they going to make it 2 in a row?
Ooh.
Because they have the Edmonton Oilers tonight, who, look, they have McDavid.
Yep.
They have Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have a lot of other stuff going for them right now, but that still makes them a dangerous team when you have 2 of the best players in the NHL in your lineup. So we're going to talk about how the Lightning can walk away with a win tonight. How can they slow down the Oilers' big 2, and why we might see another huge performance from Jake Guentzel. That's all coming up when we come back on Locked on Lightning. Today's episode is brought to you by ERUPT. Let's be real, guys. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've heard them all before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's okay. That's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's all about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. So visit Rugiet.com/LockedOnNHL to get 15% off your first order. Again, that's Rugiet.com/LockedOnNHL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNHL so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. We're back on Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, let's dive into tonight's game. Lightning taking on the Edmonton Oilers at, as you would call it, Club BMI, Benchmark International Arena. This is going to be an interesting one because Connor McDavid's coming to town. Leon Draisaitl's coming to town. And look, the Oilers aren't great at the moment. But I feel like no matter how well the Oilers are doing, like you can hear headlines from around the NHL where it's like the Oilers are a dumpster fire. Like, you know, their coach is on the hot seat. You know, they're trending in the wrong direction, blah, 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 blah. No matter how like much of a dumpster fire the Oilers are, you're still guaranteed to see like, okay, well, how's Connor McDavid doing? And then see Connor McDavid like just blowing the rest of the NHL out and scoring. And sure enough, when you check the NHL leading scorers, Connor McDavid is right there, 1 point off of first place behind Nathan MacKinnon, 32 points in 22 games, and Draisaitl is not far behind him either with 26 and 22. So, Greg, $1 million question. If you stop Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, do you win this game pretty handily?
I think in a normal situation, it would still be a pretty close game. But that being said, I don't know if anyone watched the Oilers game last night, but they got destroyed 7-4 by the Caps, and they're on a road game back-to-back. So now, you know, they're coming in. This is tough. This is a tough game for the Oilers, in my opinion, especially with how good the Lightning have looked lately. I do think if the Lightning can contain McDavid and Draisaitl, this should be a win. Their goaltending has not looked good, and we know some of the Lightning forwards have looked elite, like Guentzel, for example, Kucherov. So I would say this is definitely a Lightning game to win, and yeah, I think the key to this game, shoot the puck. Because right now, these goalies are looking like Swiss cheese, and their defense leaves a lot to be desired.
I agree with that 100%. It's interesting when you look at the Oilers because obviously we know these are kind of the big two to build around, McDavid and Draisaitl. And, you know, we know that McDavid kind of, when he resigned, took a little bit of that, you know, that hometown discount to try to give the Oilers management some more room to get in there and maybe get some star players around him, maybe get a little bit better depth around him.
Or a goal.
We'll see if that happens next year because it's certainly not happening right now. Like if you look at the Oilers roster, like it's Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, you know, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is right there in the mix like he always is. And then who? You know, Adam Henrique, Jack Roslovic, Matthew Savoy.
What's Henrique now, like 38?
God, I was like in high school when he kind of broke through on the scene. So it's like, God, what do you up there? But it is kind of the reality. And look, they got Zach Hyman back a little bit ago, so that's going to help. You know, and I know Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been hurt for a while, but it's still Like it just feels like if you take away McDavid and Draisaitl, there's really nothing there.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the goaltending for them because both goalies over 3 goals against a game right now. Eugh. Save percentages, the best one is an 881.
And that's Stuart Skinner. That's your
It is
starter.
Yeah, it is. And just as a team, their goals against is 3.64, 29th in the NHL, which just kind of leads back to my first point. Shoot the puck. I think you set up a zone entry and you just take a couple shots. I think eventually they're going in. And wouldn't call either of these goalies, Vasilevskiy caliber by any means. And then look, you get a power play. Let's capitalize. We've seen the power play be deadly. Well, yeah, they're 2 days ago. And Kucherov looks excellent. I think there's really look with Connor McDavid out there, you can always lose this game, right? I mean, let's not pretend like you can't. But I think you really got to win this game.
For me, it's about continue the momentum of the big guns, and that's why I look at Jake Guentzel. We talked about him having the hat trick against New Jersey the other night, but even before then, he's been one of the hottest scoring players on a Lightning team that, quite frankly, Greg, I think is a little behind on scoring compared to where I think a lot of people around the NHL thought they would be right now, including us. Number one offense in the league last year, and they're solid. I mean, they're 15th right now in the NHL, which isn't bad, but it's not sort of the Oilers or it's not sort of the Lightning that we're used to see. And that's why I look at Jake Guentzel. He's a guy that's gotten really hot, I think, over the past 10 games or so. Obviously, like, even besides the hat trick, still 6 goals in his last 5 games. Like that's pretty solid scoring streak right there.
Oh yeah.
I look at this as an opportunity to get them going. And look, we know like McDavid is going to get like 25 minutes of ice time in this game, and probably so is Draisaitl, which means I think you do have to put your big guns out there, including Jake Guentzel, and just expect them to win some matchups. And for me, that's why I'm looking at, Jake Guentzel as part of the key to winning this game, and Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point and Anthony Cirelli. I think this is going to be a big test for them, but this is an opportunity to go out there and really make a statement. And if you're able to take those Lightning top line guys and they're able to go out there and win their particular matchups with Connor McDavid, with Leon Draisaitl, or at least, get the lion's share of chances when they're on the ice, I think you have a pretty good chance to neutralize the Edmonton attack in this game.
Absolutely. And we haven't seen it too often, but we have seen it this season where some of the plays where the Lightning, both defensemen, will kind of try and keep that offensive blue line, and then they get beat with by like a long stretch pass, and it leads to like a 1-on-0 sometimes, or like a 1-on-1. I think you really got to be mindful of that because these guys are fast, and if you let Connor McDavid cherry pick even a little bit, he's going to beat you. So I think we need the defense to play just a little more conservative in this game because of that. But outside of that, I think you're right. Like, you want these guys to win their matchups, and I think it's not like Guentzel and Cooch can't compete with the best of the best, which is McDavid and Draisaitl. There's, I think it should be a good game, realistically.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And of course, now that we said shutting down McDavid and Draisaitl is the key.
He's going to have 5 points.
Well, McDavid's going to be scoreless. Draisaitl's going to have scoreless, and the Oilers are still going to win like 6-2 or something like that. Right. Yeah, Matthew Savoy is going to have a hat trick.
Right, make me eat my words.
Yeah, that's always how it happens. Let's get to some picks and predictions for this game when we come back in just 1 second. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's not just the NHL that's in full swing, folks. The NBA is back on the hardwood. And whether you're a fan of the Magic, the Heat, or another team in the association, there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Here's something else that's exciting. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's right. All you have to do is download the app, sign up, place $5, and you could win $300 to use in bonus bets however you want. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to Locked on Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Steven. And Greg, let's get into some picks and predictions for tonight's game between the Lightning and Oilers. Don't have the fancy graphic made, but I will tell you, Greg, the Lightning are the favorites in this one, according to our friends at FanDuel, minus 162 on the money line, Oilers plus 134. You liking those odds?
Yeah, I think those are correct, if that's the question. But yeah, I'm taking the Lightning. I think just seeing how beat up the Oilers got last night, 7-4 is wild. And then just adding on to that, the fact that this is another game on the road for them, and it's a back-to-back. This is a tough one for the Oilers, like I said previously. So, yeah, I think those odds are correct, and I'm taking the Lightning.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think depth is going to win out a little bit more on this one. I'm with you there. Here's one, the over-under for tonight's game. It's not our usual 5.5. This is Connor McDavid we're talking about. 6.5 is the over-under on this one. You taking the over, or you want to get this 2-game winning streak going for us?
It's spicy, but I'm going the over.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think there's just too much scoring on both teams. And look, I know we talked about, keeping Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in check. I think when you watch the Oilers play, there's just a realization that those two are probably going to get those points. And it's kind of one of those things where, I think it was like a Steve Kerr quote, when the Golden State Warriors used to play the Cavaliers in the finals every year. It's, his thing was always LeBron James is going to get his points. We're not going to stop LeBron James from getting his points, but we can stop all the other players from chipping in. And I think that, to me, is kind of how to approach this game. I think McDavid and Draisaitl are going to make plays.
Yeah.
But I think if the Lightning can successfully shut down the rest of the team, I think they're going to be in good shape. So I'm feeling like, God, I'm going to eat my words, but I'm feeling like 6-3 maybe as a score. Okay.
I was thinking 6-2, so I'm with you.
Okay, either one. Hey, even 4-3 is an over. So either way. All right, Greg, we talked about some players to watch. Who do you think is going to score a goal tonight? Like, who are you just feeling is going to get on the score sheet at some point?
Before we dive into that.
Okay.
Could Nick Paul return today?
I'm not guessing.
I know,
I return anymore.
I know, I can't figure it out.
I will return. I will talk about Nick Paul's return when he is on the ice. We've been talking about Nick Paul's return for a month now, and it hasn't happened yet. We're like, we could see Nick Paul tonight, and it's been like he's full practice, he's skating, and Jon Cooper's just like, nah, it's still day to day.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm just going to say it until it happens. If Nick Paul plays tonight, he scored a goal. But if not, then I'm feeling Yanni Gourde today.
Nick Paul was plus 480, according to FanDuel, and Yanni Gourde is plus 400.
Okay, so big better.
Yeah. Why Yanni Gourde?
I think he hasn't scored in a couple games at least now. And I just feel like he's due. It's just a gut feeling. I think it's coming. Yeah. I'm feeling a big night from Yanni and Bjorkstrand. I don't know why.
Speaking of feeling, I'm going to throw one out there for you.
Okay.
Gage Gonsalves
Ooh.
at plus 460. Now that's a bet I'm going to hit a little bit. Look, his scoring hasn't been there this year like we thought we were going to see from overage Gage.
Yeah.
Remember, he was. I think both of us kind of had him pegged as a breakout candidate, somebody with more responsibility. Hasn't gotten on the score sheet at all, goals or assists, since that game in Vegas back on November 6th. But I've watched him play these past couple of games, and I've liked what I've seen. And according to like the skates, he's been with Cirelli, he's been with Hagel, which is kind of back to what that original second line we thought was kind of going to look like coming into this year. And we know he had good chemistry with them. He's kind of landed there after all this reshuffling. And I like the chemistry that he had with them last year. And I like the way he's played these past couple of games, just from an energy standpoint, a forechecking standpoint, and getting to the goal to try to get chances going. I don't know. I feel like tonight might be the breakthrough. So I'm going to go Gage.
I really love that pick.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. I'm feeling the depth. I think, like you had kind of said it earlier, the depth is going to come in here. And I think the Oilers' bottom lines don't compare to the Lightning bottom lines really at all. And that's why I am feeling the Gord Bjorkstrand vibe. Even Girgensons, maybe. Who knows? Maybe he'll sneak one in again.
Yeah. You're not riding with the David Tomasek, Trent Frederick, just absolutely game-changing combination.
Nah, not going to buy into that yet.
Yeah, this is the first time I've learned who David Tomasek is, just looking at the line combinations for that.
Right.
Yeah. Real quick, Greg, let's just end this with maybe one more. What are you expecting to see tonight from the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Just maintain the momentum. I think that's really the biggest thing. You just want to play 3 full periods again. And let's just, for argument's sake, say you lose this game 4-3. As long as you played 60 minutes, I think that's really the key. I think if you do play the 60 minutes, you do win this game, though.
I agree 100% with that. For me, I'm just looking for this to maybe be a chance to survive the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked about it. We know Edmonton can score. We know McDavid is the best player of our generation. And we know Leon Draisaitl is right there with him in terms of best players in the NHL right now. I think I think it's naive not to think that they're going to have at least some kind of impact on this game, as good as Vasilevsky's been playing. Yeah. So for me, if you're the Lightning, this is a chance to just look at your offense and be like, you know what? This is a feast for you. Like, this is not a great defensive team. They don't have a lot of depth beyond those two guys. This is your chance to, and they had their goaltending is not strong right now. This is your chance to go out and basically, treat this as target practice. Go out there and shoot. Go out there, pepper shots, get the rebounds, get deflections, and try to make a statement. Try to get yourselves going. And that's why I said, like, I'm feeling like maybe 6-3 tonight, because I think this is going to wind up being just an offensive, all-out game.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. But now I am fully prepared for 1-0.
Yeah, this will be Stuart Skinner's best year, best game of the season.
He's shut out with 42 saves.
Yeah, and hitting the under hard. Yeah. We'll have a full recap of this game tomorrow. In the meantime, be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching this, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening in on your favorite podcasting platform. Hitting that subscribe button not only helps us with our numbers, but it keeps you guys in the know when we have new content out for us. You can also keep tabs on us on social media, Instagram, TikTok. We are on there. Just search Locked On Lightning. We'll have fresh content, clips from the show, and important updates for you. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Back with a new episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.